Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It is your teacher again. I know you're so excited for yet another tutorial video on what you should be doing in this class. But I wanted to put up an APA tutorial video to help you with your weekly papers. I want this to be an opportunity for you to get better at your writing at the college level. And in order to do that, you are going to have to learn APA formatting. And it's not that hard. It's actually quite easy. And many of you are really, really close to being there. And so there's just a few tweaks that you have to do before you are complete with that. So you will notice here that I have your resources here. I want you to use these resources when you write your paper. That's why they're there. Don't just write me one giant opinion paper without actually having referenced anything here. The reason why I gave you these resources is to help you with your claims, to make your claims about climate and culture, to make them stronger because you have these resources to back up your claims. And that's essentially what we are going to be doing when we cite the resources. So if you notice, I have this paper right here. And again, I use pages, not words, so my view may look a little different than your view does in your word processing application. But basically, I'm using this paper here because it was a really good start, and a lot of you had similar papers. You had these great papers that are really organized. You've got the headings here that look good. Everything is flowing really well. Your punctuation is right. Your organization is great. But the only problem is you're making claims and you're not giving credit to where you got those claims. And I'm going to show you today how to do that. Okay, so we cite evidence from text for two reasons. Well, for many reasons, but two reasons today. We cite evidence because it is important to give credit where credit is due. You didn't just wake up this morning and know that climate in a school means the overall outlook and morale of the school's community as a whole. That didn't just pop into your head. The reason why you can say that is because you read the article or you pulled that out of the article. So it's only fair that you give credit to the person who wrote that in their article. Okay? And the second reason why we cite evidence from text is to make our claims stronger. So they're not just these random opinions that you came up with and decided to put on the paper. That's not strong enough. You've got to support it with evidence. So many of you did support it with evidence. You just didn't give credit. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So in this paper, there's the heading here, like I told you guys to do, difference between climate and culture in an organization. And this particular student went through and did a great job outlining the difference. The only problem is the person who wrote all this stuff didn't get credit for the idea. Now, the person who wrote this paper, she summed up the author's words. She didn't take it verbatim, but she did get the ideas from the author. So it doesn't matter if you're using your own words. If you took the idea from the author, you have to cite the author. So this entire paragraph here is basically what the author of this article says. The author's name is Grunert, whatever, Steve Grunert, and it was written down here. You can see that it was published in 2008. So in APA, we use the author's last name and date. Okay, so in this particular situation, the author's last name is Grunert, and the date is 2008. So this whole paragraph here, even though it's in her own words, I'm not accusing her of plagiarizing, but it's not her idea. She didn't wake up one day and just decide this is the truth, okay? She got this from Grunert, and we got to give credit. So you simply type Grunert, comma, 2008. All right, and that will give credit to basically this whole paragraph, because this whole entire paragraph here is Grunert's ideas. So you just put it at the end. That tells me she got this from Grunert. All right, and that's great because it shows me you read the article. Now, the next place where we can have an opportunity to cite is this thing here promotes higher morale. This right here is an idea, okay? And so a way to cite the author's idea, just one sentence, because this looks like her own. Can put a damper on the teacher's moods and teachers are down. That sounds like her. But this right here, climate of a school is especially important because happiness promotes a higher morale. Maybe Grunert said that. So you say, according to Grunert, 2008, climate of a school is especially important because happiness promotes a higher morale. So this is how you cite APA at the beginning of a sentence. When you say, like, according to the article. You don't say according to the article. You say according to Grunert, which is the author's last name, and then you put the date in parentheses. This is how you do it at the end of the paragraph, if the whole paragraph is Grunert's idea. And this is how you do it if just one sentence is Grunert's idea. Now notice up here that the period is at the end of the citation. It's like basically you say, culture is more difficult to change because it is based how you do things in a certain setting in your beliefs and values. So Gruner, 2008, period. The period comes after the citation. Here, the citation is within the sentence. So you say, according to Grunert, the guy's name, 2008, climate of a school, blah, 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 blah. And that's how you do it in the beginning or in the middle of the sentence rather than at the end of the paragraph. Okay? As we scroll down, another place where we can have an opportunity to cite is here, teachers' impact on a school's climate. This, I assume, she got from this article right here, where Carol Allred, that's the author's name here, comes up with the 7 strategies for building positive classrooms. So making learning relevant, creating a code of conduct, teach positive actions, all of these different things. You can also grab some of the information from the beginning of it, so it's a really great article to use. Well, the author in this situation is Allred, and it was written, again, in 2008. So the APA citation would be Allred, 2008. So let's go back to our paper. So we've got something here with her happiness will radiate off to her students, create a positive learning environment, and then maybe she decides to use teach positive actions. The importance of doing positive actions to feel good about yourself. The positive action curriculum covers the following concepts. So maybe you take something from in here and you say something like, a great way to do this is by teaching positive actions. I didn't say that. Allred, 2008 said that. So I say Allred, 2008. And that's capital Allred, 2008. Period. Okay? And that will cover that citation. Now, I see here, based on the readings, okay, I would prefer that instead of you saying based on the readings, you say today's educational climate means being blamed for everything wrong with education. Now that sounds like my article, the Jasper article. Lack of support from administration. So instead of saying based on all the readings, because not all the readings said this, only one reading said, I would basically change this up and say, according to Jasper, 2014, because I wrote that blog in 2014, take out it seems. Don't say it seems. Say teachers in today's educational climate are being blamed for everything wrong with education. And they lack support from administration, and have a deficient amount of time to plan. Okay? That's from me, according to Jasper 2014, right there. Got it? So you're trying to cite authors and do papers for the College of Education and any other college that uses APA. I recommend you go to this Purdue OWL online writing lab right here. Okay? If you just Google Purdue OWL, Purdue is a college. I'm sure many of you know that. And they have a great online writing lab. It's used by all kinds of people. okay? And they have different, you'll notice down here, they have MLA guides and APA guides, all right? We are using APA, so click APA, and it has APA style, has an APA overview and workshop. I want you to go around and explore this website. It's really important that you do so. But you also want to do here APA formatting and style guide. This walks you through in-text citations, the basics. So it'll show you right here. This is what a cover page should look like. You don't have to do a cover page for these little mini papers, but you may have to do a cover page for bigger papers down the road. This is what an abstract should look like. You're not going to have to do an abstract. These are for huge research papers. This is what your bibliography should look like. In-text citations by the authors. Okay, see here, Wedgner and Petty. That's two authors. Sometimes articles have two authors. So it's the last name of both authors, Wedgner and Petty, 1994. Or you could say here at the beginning, research by Wedgner and Petty, 1994, supports blah, 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 blah. And that's how you do your citations, okay? Now, we'll get into this etal stuff. This is when you can shorten citations, but let's just go with the basics for now. You just do the last name of the author and the date. If there are multiple authors, you do Wedgner, comma, Petty, comma, Smith, comma, Jones, and Swanson, 1994. Okay, so there might be lots of authors because on big reports there are lots of authors. Okay, you can see it here, you can see it here. Now, here is what we call a string of authors. So right here you have Burnett, 2002, and Harlow, 1983. Let's say that in your paper, let me go back to the paper. Let's say that culture influences climate because in one's culture there are certain stigmas that could influence the daily climate of the classroom. Let's say that this particular student who wrote this paper got this statement from two articles, basically. Let's say that Grunert, I guess the name is Grunert, sorry. Let's say that Grunert says that in his article, and Allred also says it somewhere in here. That's really good because that shows that what you are saying here is supported by two authors. So you need to cite both authors. And this is a great way to do a string. We call them strings of citations. And basically, you would do something like this. So let's do Allred first because A goes before G. Allred 2008. And then you'll notice, I'm sorry, don't want to make you dizzy. You'll notice here that there's a semicolon that separates the two authors. Okay? So then you do a semicolon and you also put Grunert, comma, 2008. That basically says this sentence that I just put in my paper is supported by Allred in 2008 and Grunert in 2008. When you have a string of authors next to something that you say here, that means like this kid has done her research. She's making a statement here, and now she is supporting it with not just one author, but two authors. And that can be very powerful. So feel free to list several authors at the end of a sentence so you can give credit to multiple authors and support your claims with strong evidence. Okay? A couple other little things I want to point out. Let me talk to you. Let me just put them down here. Let me just get a new page. All right. So some of you write things like this. I believe, ... It seems to me, ... Everyone knows, ... Oops, ... Okay, these are problematic things. Do not use them in your papers. I believe, and it seems to me, there's no reason to use them. You're writing the paper, so I know you believe it. And it seems to me is fluff because I know it seems to you because you're writing the paper. So all you have to do is take them out. So for example, if you say, I believe climate is different than culture. Don't say that's not how you spell culture. That's not how you spell culture either. I'm having a hard time. There you go. I believe climate is different than culture. Don't say I believe. Just state what you want to state. Climate is different than culture. This is stronger than saying I believe or it seems to me. It seems to me and I believe weaken your argument. Okay? Don't use them in your papers. You don't need them. And sometimes we put them in because it kind of warms us up in our writing. And what I would suggest is you run through your writing one more time through and take things like that out. So if you see anything like that, take it out. All right. Just normally when you erase it, it seems to me, not I seems to me, it seems to me when you take that out, the sentence can stand on its own and it's much stronger. This one drives me crazy. And everyone knows. Everyone knows. That's quite a claim. Everyone knows that climate is different. Climate is different than culture. Really? Everyone knows? If you went to your neighbors, if you knocked on your neighbor's door and said, "Do you know that climate in an organization is different than the culture?" Do you think your neighbor would know? Maybe. But I'm going to say probably not. If you go to a remote village in Africa, are they going to know that an organizational climate is different than the culture? Probably not. If you went to my 6-year-old and asked, "Did you know that climate is different than culture?" She's going to look at you like you have 4 heads. So when you say things like everyone knows, that is incorrect. Not everyone knows. In fact, very little amount of people know that climate is different than culture. So take it out. Just say, climate is different than culture. You know it. You're stating it. I'm not interested in everyone all over the world. I'm interested in what you are saying in your paper. So take things like that out of the paper, especially as you move through and become more seasoned writers. You need to take that out, okay? Now, for some of you, I suggested that you go to the Writing Center for better assistance in your writing if there were major grammatical issues. A lot of you need work on your grammar. Some of you did a great job citing, but you made your entire paper one giant paragraph, okay? You got to break it up into different paragraphs. You cannot just have one giant paragraph. Some of you had some major problems with grammar and some spelling issues and organization issues. If you're having trouble writing, please go to the Writing Center. They help you do things like that. Let me look up FGCU Writing Center. You will see that you just go to the Writing Center at FGCU and they can help you. Writing consultations, online consultations, writer resources. That's why they're here. They're here to help you. Some of you need to go here immediately. And I only say that not to be mean, but because you're going to have a tough time writing papers if you're already struggling. And look, nobody likes to write papers, okay? I write papers I probably write 2 to 3 papers a week for my doctoral program, and I'm really good at writing papers only because I write them all the time. And I've had a lot of practice over the last, 4 graduate degrees that I've gotten. So I've gotten really good at them, but that's only because I practice. I don't like writing them. I hate writing papers. So the fact that you hate writing papers is totally normal. In fact, if you like writing papers, there's something wrong with you, all right? But you've got to get to a place where you can write papers and it's not going to hinder your ability to graduate from college. And those of you who I suggested go to the Writing Center, and there were a few of you, please go to the Writing Center. Use this resource. They will help you with the fundamental points of organization, paragraphs, how to structure your paragraphs, and just getting a flow of writing down. You don't have to go here for 3 years. Go in, get a consultation, have them help you. Maybe you got to go back 2 more times, and then you move on with your life. But this is a great resource. Please, please, please use it. And some of you may need it just for, even if you want a more in-depth look at APA. Maybe I didn't explain it good enough for you. Okay? Now, next week, we're going to take it slow. Next week, I want you to, for your papers, I want you to work on these in-text citations here, okay? Try a string of authors, or I do have some videos and podcasts on there. This week on your papers, I just want you to work on your in-text citations. Next week, I'm going to show you how to do a bibliography that goes with these in-text citations. But for this week's paper, as you write, please focus on these in-text citations. Take out things like everybody knows and it seems to me and I believe and let me tell you about this. All that needs to go away. Just write the paper, state the claim, support the claim with evidence, and use the resources. And please don't just give me one giant opinion piece where you haven't read the resources. Read the resources, watch the videos, and then, and only then, write your paper. Hopefully I didn't confuse you any more than you were already confused. If you have questions, you can call me and I can walk you through it too. My number is 239-207-5755. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you basically in 2 weeks from now with your new papers. Have a great day.